All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Don Yoakum, and I am excited to bring you a message that I have actually got some training on yesterday as I went through my success coaching certification. And I think I saw Amy Sedgwick in the house. Amy, are you here? Yes, she is.
Absolutely, I am.
So I don't know about you, but this layers of the mind component of the coaching that we went through yesterday really resonated with me. And uh, what I what I felt was that I've spent so much time talking to people about the results that they get and then the behavior that they exhibit in order to cause those results. And yet, and those things, of course, have a really strong connection. Your daily habits are definitely going to impact your results positively or negatively. But I rarely have gone further than that. And so I wanted to just bring that into our conversation today about, what is your potential and what are your beliefs that you hold for yourself in our business, and what are the things that you value, and finally, how do you hold yourself and your identity, and how does that then affect all of those things that end up creating ultimately the results that you get. So what I wanted to do today, and it's an interesting time, right? Because the market has shifted and we're having to exhibit new behavior, actually, because strangely enough, if you continue doing what you were doing, when the money was falling from the real estate trees, it might not fall at the same rate. So we're going to have to step it up. That's not a bad thing. I think I mentioned in the training the other week that I was talking with some guy actually in Southern California, and we were talking about the short sale period, which I deem to be like, that was, like there's hell week at school. I think of the short sale period, those were the hell years of real estate. And this guy was selling over 100, 120 properties a month, and he made it sound like, oh, no big deal. Yeah, I just got the processors to handle it. And he explained his marketing program. I'm like, wow, you know what? I can see how that would work. And anyway, so what that guy's belief though was that the short sale period, he saw it as an opportunity. Most agents viewed it as a nightmarish period of the real estate where it was so much friction to get deals closed, right? But he built a system, and he had processors and negotiators to accommodate it. No big deal, right? So, my normal thing, when I'm working with somebody would be to, say, well, what's your goal, right? And somebody might say, well, I want to close a deal a month. And I'll say, okay, great. And so then what is your prospecting marketing plan in order to do that? What is the behavior that you will exhibit to cause that to occur? Well, I'm going to do, open houses or whatever. And so then we'll dive down and we'll look at, okay, well, what are you doing to prepare for the open house, and how many signs are you putting out, how many hours, and are you doing a drawing, and and do you have your lender incorporated into it, and are they following up, and we'll do all these things, kind of tactics for making something happen, right? And so, but I have rarely gone deeper than that. And so when I was going through this coaching yesterday, I was feeling a little bit remiss about it, and just thought, man, I need to share with these guys the importance of these other steps, and really looking within yourself, the things that are going to drive that behavior, right? So if I could just get a volunteer, could somebody tell me what they believe their potential is in terms of closed transactions per month. Patrick, I saw your hand reach for your mouse, but I didn't. Are you willing to share your what you believe your potential is?
Yeah, potential for me. That's a good question. The potential or what I actually want to do.
Well,
I feel like potentially I could commit my entire life to this and forego all other aspects of my goals and possibly push it as much as 4 or 5 a month. But I feel like my ultimate goal is closer to 2.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, we're going to go to beliefs next. Okay. So what I hear you say is that, if I wanted to make my life all about real estate, I feel like, and Sarah chimed in as well in the chat box, it'd be great for you guys, for everybody to chime in. I would actually really appreciate that. Put in the chat box what you believe your potential is, but I do want you to put the qualifier in there that Patrick did. He kind of skipped ahead a step, but he's like, hey, I think I could do 4 or 5, but actually, in order for me to live the life that I want to live, 2 is probably a more realistic goal, right? Is that pretty much what I heard you say?
Yeah. And honestly, I think too, that's driven a lot by price points in our area. Because 2 gets me to my goals financially. Generally, obviously more money is always better, but if I lived, Midwest or something, I'd probably have to do more to get there. But the price point I'm selling at, that's a substantial commission for me. So,
and what is your average sales price?
Gosh, I'd say somewhere probably 800,
900,000.
Yeah.
So is your average commission 200?
That's.
I'm sorry. I mean, your average commission 20,000 a month. 20,000 per.
Yeah. So we're looking at someplace between 15 and then of course occasionally there's one that's 45 or something. So when they're averaging out, if we sell one that's $1.7 million, and then the next time it could be 6.
Okay, so at 20,000 per though, if you did 24, that would be 480.
Yeah. So
okay.
Like I said, if I'm hitting close to 500 grand in GCI,
well, the thing though that I want you to consider, I don't know how much thought you've put into this, and maybe this is something to focus on for next year, but you can get the Icon Award at 500K.
Yeah.
And so so that's something that might be a reason to stretch just a teeny bit.
Yeah. It sounds better too. I like the round number. 500 sounds better than 480. So yeah, let's make it that. Whatever number of deals gets me there, I'm good with.
Okay, so 500. All right. And by the way, one of the things I know you still hold the belief of wanting to just close 2 deals a month. However, to maintain your lifestyle. So there's a couple things that you can do. You could increase your price point just a little bit to make sure that got you to the 500K, or you might just take on your production, because you're over 6 million a year, would qualify you to be a team lead. You could just get yourself a sub agent that would, because a lot of because I know that you're an effective lead generator, right? And internet leads, you've been doing that for years, which are, some of those are pretty time consuming to convert. But I could see from a quality of life perspective, you bringing in a sub agent that just did even 1 deal a month, on a, something like a 67-33 split, or, you have to charge at least 25%. But if they did 12 or 1 deal a month, that would add 4 to 6, the equivalent of 4 to 6 transactions for you. So that makes you a cinch to get your Icon Award, right?
Yeah.
If you're getting, let's say their average sales price might not be 800 like yours. It might, as a buyer's agent, usually they're a little bit lower, especially if they're newer in the business. But, if it was even, let's say they were making 12 grand gross per transaction, that's 144, 33% of that, that would add, like another 50K for you.
Mhm.
So thanks, Amy, for answering Sarah's question. Amy's a 2-time Icon Award winner. So there's 2 different ways that you get to Icon. One is 500,000 GCI, and the other is 80,000 GCI in a production year plus 20 transactions, the equivalent of 20 transactions. And the reason why I bring in the sub-agent piece is because those transactions, whatever your split is, count as fractional deals. So if you're getting 33% on that deal, 3 of their deals would translate to 1 of yours. Okay. All right. So now it sounds though that what I'm hearing you say is, I want to have my quality of life, but also I want to get that Icon Award.
Yeah, 500,000 would not be a problem for me. I'd enjoy that. So
yeah. Well, and the thing though is, I guess, I think most people would enjoy 500,000, by the way, Patrick.
I assume, yeah.
Okay. My question is, are you committed to that? Is that something that you would really work towards achieving?
That's the goal right now. I feel recommitted since the beginning of the year, since we first started talking. There's been some changes in the way my approach, like you said, a lot of internet lead generation prior to this, but there's been a recommitment towards all the things that you push, past client work, events, open houses, things of that sort. So I'm trying to find other sources in addition to what I was already doing.
Yeah, awesome. By the way, I'm a huge fan of open houses, so we should talk offline about some strategies with that. Mm-hmm. But let's dive down on that just a little bit, and let's talk about a few things that you could do that you're not doing today that could ensure that you hit your 500K and get that Icon Award. So what comes top of mind? What would be your number one thing that you'll add to your repertoire from your internet lead generation?
Curiosity, I'm still trying to, I want to make sure that I firmly set the habits of the new stuff we've already started. So I'm on a lot of these meetings and there's new tactics brought up each time. Mm-hmm. You can kind of get shiny object. And so, yes. Beginning of the year, I started focusing on posting regularly to social media. And I think that habit has now formed. We've yet to close a deal from it, but I've had lots of conversations. And then, just regular follow-up with past clients. On your advice, we just I had a thing with my lender. We had an ice cream social and school supply giveaway, and I was able to use that as a reason to call my entire database. And we've got a couple.
How many?
I'm only up to 150 at this point. I know you want me to build to 300, but yeah. I could add. There's tons of contacts in my database. It's just I wouldn't count them in that core group. They're just people that I've been emailing forever.
Yeah. Can we go back on social media though a little bit? Because I think, first of all, have you identified any models of people that you think, wow, that person does social media, combine social media with their Facebook and social life in a really, in a way that I'd like to model after? Do you have a model out there for yourself?
It's kind of an amalgamation of numerous people. It's really tough to tell who's actually doing business from it. So I know there's
one way to ask them.
Yeah.
One way to find out.
Just reach out.
Yeah, ask them, especially if they're not in your market, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, identify somebody that looks like they're doing a great job, right? And not in your competitive market. You're going to build a referral relationship as well.
Okay.
And I would just call you up and I just say, hey, Patrick, this is Don Yocum. I see you're in Placer County, I'm up in Hood River, Oregon, and we're connected on Facebook. And I noticed that you do a really good job with your social media and posting, and I might reference something in particular. I'm just curious, does that actually translate into sales for you? Right. And so, a lot of people think of that, like Eric Katz is on the line, and he just joined us. He's an icon level producer, and he had been very infrequently posting, and he started posting.
Mhm.
And right away, he got a few leads from it. Okay. And he actually is far enough away to be a referral partner with you. So, you might connect with him and find out what he posts in order to generate those leads, right? And then Amy Sedgwick, who is icon level producer in Portland, she does an amazing job on YouTube, which is another form of social media, right? So you could also join her mastermind. Amy, your mastermind is meeting every week, huh?
Yeah, but we just wrapped up.
Oh, you did? Okay, got it. But that, what is your channel if people want to follow, subscribe to your channel? You want to put that in the chat?
Yeah, sure. Floating Homes Portland.
Okay, cool. All right. So, but
I
Patrick,
have a suggestion.
yeah, go ahead, Ruth.
My name's Ruth. Sorry. Anyway, I use a platform called Back At You, and they take care of all of my social media. They put me on Instagram, on Facebook. I actually did get a listing, a $525,000 listing that I sold last year through them. They give you an opportunity to, like when I get listings, I'll put them on Back At You, and then I will want to post I'll want it posted on Facebook or Instagram. So then I request that, I pay a little extra for it, but they do everything. And then they give me a calendar of how they're keeping me relevant on social media. Like they'll shoot out things like, what color would you love your house to be? Or what kind of house do you like, this house or that house? And then they'll put my information at the bottom.
Okay, so Ruth, yeah, that sounds good. Will you turn your video on?
My hair's a mess. Okay. I was in the gym.
My hair's always a mess. And it's good for you that you went to the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Now, have you spoken to anybody that utilizes that service?
It was somebody at when I was at Coldwell Banker over here in Grants Pass. Somebody there was using it. So yeah, it was at Coldwell Banker, and somebody recommended it to me. So I looked into it, and because I don't have time to go on Instagram and Facebook, and I don't know how to navigate all of that, I just wanted somebody to take care of it for me. So I just went on it, and I paid like, I think it was $1,500 or something like that for the whole year.
Yes. So, well, you invested $1,500 and you got a deal.
Yeah.
Just a little word to the wise for you guys, because I know you're being solicited for all kinds of stuff. And I presume that most of it probably does work. But what I have found is that there's usually little tricks to making it actually translate to real business. And so whenever you're being solicited, a little rule I want to encourage you to follow is require that they give you 3 referrals, 3 people that you can talk to. And if they say, oh yeah, well, my top people are so busy, they don't have the time to talk to, tell them, then have them do a 90-second recording, a video, just on their iPhone about how they use the system. And if somebody can't get you 3 of those, don't sign up. Okay, but what I really want to do is I want to build relationship with those 3 people. Okay, because once they give me that person's name, I'm going to track them down. Okay, and I'm going to share best practices with them. I'm going to build a referral relationship with them, right? Because they're giving me the 3 most successful people that are going to speak well of that service, right? So anyway, just something to keep in mind. But thank you, Ruth, for that suggestion.
One other thing, and I got this from another broker. She was in Washington. And a way I keep in touch with my past clients is I put them all on homebot.com. But every month it gives them a price evaluation of their home. And then it's me know who's going in there. And so that's how I got one of my past clients. I noticed he was checking out, doing the market analysis of his home. And I with him a few months ago, and he did a purchase, all because the home bot, he was just doing the market analysis. And that recommendation broker in Washington, that's how she keeps up with her past clients. And it works, I think, to see who's pulling up their business.
Right. Yeah, well, good. Well, thank you. So Patrick, I want to go back to you, and I just want to finish this exercise. And but Ruth, thank you for your contribution. And I do want to encourage you guys to do that. And I'll just give you one last little comment, Ruth, is that those tools are really great to drip on your leads, drip on your sphere, but it does not replace personal communication. So use that as a way to then follow up with a personal call, or an invitation to have lunch or coffee or whatever. But Patrick, will you come off mute? And I would just want to explore a couple more things with you. Okay. So we've got you going. I'd love to see how things are coming along, and I know, because we're doing 5 trainings a week, you're constantly being exposed to new ideas. So it's interesting because you actually really do need to exercise discipline to not get chasing after too many rabbits, right? So, but you've been in the business long enough to know yourself. And so what would you say your values are, or what do you your personal values, and then your values of real estate, your standards and so forth that you set for yourself? What does that look like to you in our business, in your life?
Values. Well, I value my family, and
right.
Yes, and so I value other people's too. I try to be. That's a broad question.
Tell me what comes to mind when I say that.
I try to be empathetic and see the world through other people's eyes when I interact with them, and try to remain humble about my own viewpoints and in interacting with people, and try to understand where they're coming from. And so as it relates to business, as I'm trying to get to the core of what people are trying to achieve and take them for their word, and just try to get them where they're trying to go, whether that's selling and moving away, or selling and moving up, or selling and just never buying again, whatever it is they're trying to do. I'm trying to help them get there, and approach it from a personal relationship level as opposed to a transactionary level.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I talk about that a lot, the difference between relational and transactional agents. And you sound like a relational one, which is of course what I advocate for. And I especially like that you intellectually understand that you can do 4 or 5 deals a month, right? You understand the correlation between activity and result. And if you were willing to work 72 hours a week, you probably could make 4 or 5 deals, but then your family would suffer, right?
Right.
And obviously that's an important value to you. And also wanting to maintain relationship type business means that you can. Do you utilize a TC?
I have. But I don't at the moment. I find that it became a telephone game for me. And the technology is so much better than it was 10 years ago, when we were running paper files and had to get things to offices and do everything. And now between DocuSign and SkySlope, by the time I get it from someone and get it to a TC, at least the average TC, I can see the value in like a really good personal assistant. I'm not there right now, but I just don't see the point in me getting something, turning around and email it to somebody else to then have them upload it. When that email, I could have just uploaded it.
Right. Well, and I think that what you want to do, and it also, let's go back to your values of wanting to protect your family, is that if you could find a TC, and suggesting that there probably are some out there that would be better than you, you know, at maintaining those details. I would encourage you to relook at that again, because remember you're pushing to make this icon award, right? And the 500K, and geez, you know, because when we originally got your goals, it was 480. You know, if the TC just added another 10% of productivity, that's 48,000. Boom, you're there.
Well, I want to be honest too. That's my goal. That's like the stretch goal. The goal at the moment is closer to like 240. It's half that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the realistic goal is there. So I've pushed 2 on numerous occasions. I've never got the 240. So I'm not anywhere near icon, but you asked, what do you think my gap was?
Yeah.
Where my goal? Where's my stretch goal? So I don't want to boot my own horn here and say I'm anywhere near 500 at the moment.
Okay. That's fair. Well, if you've been down in the 240 range, then your average sales price must be lower than 800.
Well,
or is it?
No, I mean, we'll push. I mean, I'm looking at like 10 to 12 closings in a year, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, got it. Okay, that makes.
I've pushed 40. I've pushed 40 before when I had 2 buyers agents, but you know, honestly, with the splits, I spent more time, you know, herding those cats and trying to get them to return phone calls to people that I'm generating leads. And I just said, all right, so I'm going to focus on the real money-making leads and not worry so much about trying to get people busy in areas I don't even want to work.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, it's, I have this conversation with Russell Innert a lot, and, you know, he's big on hiring assistants as opposed to buyer agents, just because oftentimes buyer agents can be a little bit like herding cats. But again, I want to challenge you to also consider that there are really conscientious, great people out there. It's just a matter of finding that person, you know, and in most models, hiring a sub-agent, you know, you put your time, money, and energy into them, and then they become your competition. But in the EXP model, they actually, you know, as long as you sponsored them, you're going to have revenue share on that person in perpetuity. So if you train them well, they might end up building a team of their own. So that's something to keep in mind also.
Yeah, it definitely changed things coming to EXP. It makes it make a little bit more sense, you know, because like I said, it became a time suck to try to get a minimal return on investment before. And I was also hiring based off of proximity. It's people I knew in the business that needed leads and went down that road. And once you got them there, it's hard to get rid of them. So I backed it off completely at this point. It's just me. So you know what Brent Gove did was hired a lot out of his church and just encouraged them to get a license. You know, I was talking to somebody else the other day about how waiters are actually, you know, especially in nicer restaurants, those can be fantastic agents, right? They have a tremendous work ethic and they have great interpersonal skills. So, you know, don't be afraid to think a little bit out of the box too, in that regard. So just, okay, so now what's interesting is that you've got this idea of your potential, and then you have kind of your current reality is, you know, a deal a month. So what would you say is the identity that you hold in the real estate community? Identity.
Yeah, like if people described you, what would you think they would say?
These are questions I've never asked myself before. It's like real estate therapy. My identity in the market. I guess an easy to work with agent who appreciates other agents. You know, and I always like, you know, I think it is from growing up in the business too, because my parents were in it when I was a kid. Right. So I've known multiple generations of real estate agents and seen it done in ways that are not done anymore. And so I can appreciate where everybody's coming from. And I think that helps me with negotiations, and it helps me with keeping deals together. And it's I can kind of relate to the other side. And in doing so, I can try to find solutions for them, as for me, for everybody involved. So I just say probably for the rest of real estate, would they think of me as just an easy agent to work with, and one that's trying to help everybody get to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, and pretty conscientious too, right? I mean, you're relational, not just in the clients that you serve, but sounds like in the affiliates that you work with as well. Yeah, what strikes me though, when we engage, and you've been so great to really show up for a lot of our trainings, and I do think that it was kind of cool that you, when you joined us at EXPU, it seems like it kind of sparked something in you, and you are making a renewed effort to reach your potential, and now you've got a little bit of a headwind environment, so it'll be interesting to see the balance that you take to, because what I believe is that, I mean, you've kind of got these three levels, right? You're doing this one deal a month. You definitely see yourself, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you see yourself as a 2 deal a month agent. And then if you wanted to be a hardcore guy, but I don't think you really want that, what it would take to do 4 or 5, and it's just a choice you consciously make to not do that. But I would say that I would really encourage you to close that gap, though, between your current level and what you believe really properly represents you, which is 2 deals a month. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's as much mindset as anything else. At this point, the mantra on my wall is take action. Action first. So each morning starts with action, and just keep moving. And so obviously I'll just keep trying to improve the processes that I'm currently working, and just keep working them, and hopefully I get where I need to go.
Well, but let's not leave it so to chance, right? If you're going to do this social media thing, then, you mentioned that would be one of the things that you've started, that you're going to, where I want to challenge you is, I want you to find, you haven't really identified, you said an amalgamation of a bunch of different ones. I want you to find examples like, I mean, on our call today is Amy Sedgwick, and she does social media really well, and she is an icon.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and I've found examples. It's not that I just don't have one. So there's numerous people that I follow that I get inspiration from on what to do.
Yeah.
And social media at this point, I'm trying to get the low-lying fruit of it. I don't ever think it's going to be a high driving. It's not going to do a ton of business for me, I don't think. Just I think there's people that do. But I think there's less of them than people realize. I really don't. I feel like it's oversold as a lead generation platform. I think it's a great way to stay in contact with my network and the people that are already following me, and I'm letting them know I do real estate more often. But I think it kind of works in synergy with the other stuff that you've told me, like calling out to my sphere. And if they're already seeing me on Facebook, then it's just a reminder. And then when I call, it's time to have a more specific conversation. But I think it's all kind of tied together. So I do think people are crushing it. There are examples of people that are killing it with social media on their own, but for me, I don't know that it'll ever reach that.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't need to, but I think this YouTube channel thing, though, could be something to add to that piece that I think is a little more tangible than, say, Facebook, for example, right? Because their search algorithm, like the guys we interviewed out of Dallas, I think that their channel was living in Dallas. I don't know if you've subscribed to that, but you probably should. Yeah, if you haven't. And one other last thing on social media, and then we'll leave that, is you can go in working with the title company and you can get the homeowners in your geographic market, right? You can get their addresses and then you can match and append them to phone and emails. And then you can match those to Facebook accounts. So then when you're doing an open house, you could then drop an open house announcement into, 10,000 homes around that open house. Right. And so that's going to enhance your brand. And you know how it's super cheap to do that. And you might even do it in conjunction with a lender, so that you guys shared the cost and the effort of putting that together. Another fun thing to do on social media, actually, I told you that was going to be the last one, but I think I got one more. You know how I've told you about the buyer letter that you do for the mailing?
Yeah.
Okay. Certainly, I mean, that's a time proven one. But another one is just put the posting of your buyer and what they're looking for in on your Facebook post. Okay, hey, I'm working with some clients that are relocating from Tennessee, and they're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this area.
Mhm.
And they want to get settled before such and such. If you know of anybody that has a home like that, please let me know. Right? I mean, how perfect. I mean, that shows the efficacy of you working with somebody, you going the extra mile, right? Yeah. And so that to me would be a more tangible post that you could use with social media and Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, like market your buyer almost like it's a list, like they're a listing.
Okay, so the other thing you said is you're going to build your database. I know you're at 150 now. You're going to get to 300. What else are you going to do? Did you mention
those are my commitments right now? I mean, it's just pile into the lead gen I'm already doing online. Make sure that I'm posting to social media regularly. Call through my database every 90 days. I've leveraged one of my local lenders, like I said, to do events. That was great because it gave me a reason to call them. That was one of your 4 things to call about. It was nice. I was able to use social media as well with that because of the fact that it was a school supply event, ice cream social. So I actually went through Instagram and Facebook, and anybody that had a kid, I sent a direct message to and said, hey, we'd love to have you out there. Of course, with these kind of events, like 1 out of, I think 100 actually showed, but I was able to have conversations and just kind of reach out to all of them. So, so I just want to rinse and repeat with what I'm doing. And then, like I said, once I've built that and I'm consistently doing it, I know I can count on myself to do it, then I'll add onto that. Yeah.
Well, hey, every 90 days, right? That's what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. The one that I'd be happy to help you with is the expert panel event. If you want to organize your lender, maybe a financial advisor.
It's funny because I actually, one of the guys I called is one of my past clients who is a financial advisor. He couldn't make it to ice cream, but we had coffee at his office 2 weeks ago. Loved him. Great client. We get along great. And he actually just sent me a referral Friday for an investor client that he has that has a portfolio of 20 investment properties that she's now looking to unload. So her daughter-in-law is in the business though, so I have to get through that part. But the referral came in, and that came from the ice cream social. It came from the past client calls. That came from the networking with, like you said, with the expert panel. So he would be somebody I would include in that. And I actually asked him about it. So,
yeah, well, if you want me to moderate your first one, I think Troy is on the line. When he organized his local group, his financial advisor ended up giving him a referral for $1.6 million listing. He closed a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I learned from him too, that they actually have 1031 products now. And if people aren't aware of this, that these financial planners have basically they're like REITs.
Yeah.
That you can roll in. And so some of these investors, we've talked on other calls about people being at the end of they're running third base with all their investments. And they don't want to manage fixing toilets and all that kind of stuff. Well, there's a product that a lot of these guys have that they can roll 1031 a single family home into something that, into something they don't have to manage.
Yeah, it's a managed investment. Usually the returns are a little more modest, maybe like a 4 or 5 cap, but
Yeah.
if that's where you are in your life, then that could actually, I think now is a fantastic time for people to do that.
Mhm.
What Patrick's talking about is what we've talked about is, we asked ourselves the question, what is a unique and great opportunity in this market right now? Because we're really late in the cycle. It looks like it's going to turn. Well, if somebody had a rental property and it was, they had a low basis, and so they'd have a big taxable event, they could exchange that into a deferred sales trust, like you're describing, right? And so that is an option, for sure. Some people might, I talked to somebody yesterday, they're just going to pay their taxes.
Mhm.
I mean, that's an option too. Okay, so you guys, the process that that I went through with Patrick here is from, like I said, my success coaching program. And what I want you to write down is on the lowest level, you have the actual results that you produce and the environment that you're in, right? And then I want you to write, just one level up from that, you have the behavior, the habits, the actions that you take that create those results. And most of the trainings we do, that's all we ever talk about, right? But today we talked about, the potential. And I think that in Patrick's case, he's doing a deal a month. He really sees his realistic potential at 2 deals a month. He knows intellectually how to do 4 to 5 deals, but I don't think he wants to sacrifice his family, or he believes that it would sacrifice his family, which then goes to our next thing, which is, for him, his beliefs hold that he's got this potential of 2 when he takes the way he wants to live his life into consideration. So above potential, you'd have your beliefs. And then finally, what's driving those beliefs are his values. And he's got some terrific values as a realtor to maintain a relationship-based agent, which is also kind of puts a moderator on his business. And then his values of, honoring his family and wanting to be able to spend time with them. And, where I have challenged him is, he, he has had a TC before, but not a great TC. I really want to encourage you to get a great TC, right? And then, and also, I know you've had pretty mediocre experience with buyer agents. I want to remind you that you did that in a model where you didn't get revenue share on them. So there was no future benefit if they left you after you invested all that time, money, and energy. So I would have you rethink that a little bit, that there is now a residual value of investing in that mentor type relationship, which I suspect you'd kind of enjoy actually, if you had the right person. And then finally, what's the identity that you're going to hold in your community, right? And I love how you did your ice cream social, and it seems like you got some really good interaction out of those communications, right?
Yeah, it felt great. Frankly, I hadn't done stuff like that in the past, and it's just nice to talk to people, and not be calling to, ask them if they had any real estate questions, just be able to
Right.
come up and say, hey, I've got something for you, and lead with giving as opposed to, the same old. So, I'm very, very stats driven, econ type stuff forever. And it was just do something a little softer was nice.
Yeah. I would encourage you, Patrick, to write a statement about your identity, the identity that you're going to hold as a person in your community and as a professional realtor, how you're going to show up. And just, hold that as kind of a, a vision, mission for your life. Okay, you guys, so I gave you this process here. Now we walked Patrick through it, and if I wasn't expert at it, forgive me, because it's the first time I did it. But I want you guys to do this, okay? Can you see it? I see, Eric, you're taking notes. Can you see the whole page? Okay,
I'll type
cool.
it in the chat, Dawn, if you want.
Oh, that would be nice. Thank you. Amy, I'm sure Amy's such an elegant speaker anyway, but what did I miss? What could I have shared with them in this process that would have been more valuable? What could you add? Because
I
Amy's
think
going through the coaching certification with me.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think you did wonderfully, Dawn. The just having maybe the levels spelled out before we started diving in. I became a big fan of chunking up, which is the same thing as doing this. So I probably would have approached it by like I found that you hopped off and went straight to strategy as soon as you had something you could dig your teeth into, because that's why we all love you, because you give us things.
That's my comfort zone.
Make success. So I think I would have gone straight for maybe even starting top down by way of just questions. And if somebody wants to play, I'd be happy to grab somebody else. I know we're low on time, but no, you got it all. Results, environment, behavior.
You know what I would like to do is I would like you to describe chunking for them, because you use that term. Of course, you and I know what that is, but
I did.
Would you describe chunking up and chunking down to them real quick?
Yeah. So chunking up is asking people a series of questions to find out what their true motivation is and their true like driving factor. And it's buried kind of deep. So you just have to keep asking questions. And then once you get to that larger picture, then you can work backwards and drill down, if you will, on the method to get there, and then help them get to the level of commitment to get there. So for example, Dawn, I'll just use you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Dawn, tell me something. No. Come on. It's all love from here, you know. Tell me something that you want to work on. Like when you looked at your wheel, what's something you want to work on there?
My health, actually. I want to go from being kind of a weekend warrior to I want to get back to being an athlete.
Okay.
To being really fit.
Right. I perceive you as fit. But if you were to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in the area of health, what number today would you give yourself?
Somewhere between 7 and 8, I would say. I did 8 yesterday, but thinking it through some more, I'm giving myself a 7.
Okay, so 7 today. What does 10 look like to you?
Well, from a weight perspective, it would be 180 pounds. I'm 201. And it is, in order to achieve that though, I would need to have a much.
I'm going to stop you at drilling down on your plan for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
What will you, what does that mean to you to be a 10? What does it feel like, not be a 10, to be at that level?
Well, it feels really empowering. By the way, you guys, what Amy just did with me is called a pattern interrupt. And you did it really well, by the way.
Thank you, dear.
But
I'm very excited to get to this for you, Dawn, and use our time wisely. So,
okay. So take good.
What will you? Yeah. What does that mean to you?
You know, it means that I am fulfilling my identity as a professional athlete, which I have been actually. And I just, as I have relationships with people all around the world from, competing. And what I notice is that the ones that are at the highest level, they're still just ripped fit. They just live a life of that's quite disciplined. And so, I would feel very, I think I'll have more energy. I would feel very empowered. I would feel really, you know, it's so funny because like you say, well, you perceive me as fit. Well, you know, with clothes on, you know, I do look pretty good. All right. But, you know, I don't have the six pack that I once had, you know, so, you know, I want to have the identity, and I want to have the reality of actually being an athlete, not just a has-been.
So when you reach this athletic level that you desire to be at, what I'm hearing is that will give you the energy, the physicality, and whatnot. So that's chunking up to Dawn's the reason behind all of that. So the energy and the physicality. And then once you get to that energy and physicality, what will that give you in your life?
Well, confidence for one thing. It'll give me, I think, congruency with who I believe I am and how I'm showing up.
And how will you know that you've achieved that?
I'll be able to walk in my board shorts with my shirt off and feel really proud of the way I'm holding myself, the way you know, that I would look.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then we don't have all the time in the world, but then from there we would start to work back.
Right. Yeah. Boy, Amy, great job. That was good. I didn't expect to have to be so
let me ask,
vulnerable.
You didn't expect what, Don?
I didn't expect to have to be so vulnerable, but okay.
Was this basically how you approach a client, asking those kinds of questions? Was that an example?
No, this is an example of, this would be more if Amy were coaching me as a professional, and could be, you know, as a realtor, or in my case, a business builder. I do feel that my physicality ties into everything I do, you know, in my life, my relationships, my leadership. You know, I want to be somebody, we didn't delve there, but, you know, another thing I want to do is lead by example, right? You know, and so go ahead, Amy.
To speak to Ruth's question, Ruth, I believe that some of this can be used with clients, and I've found myself, even in the short few days that I've been working with this, implementing this on a softer level, right? I'm not drilling down, but you know, the more deep you can go with your client and find out on a deeper level, well, what is this? So once you get that dream house, what does that do for you? What does that mean for you? And oh my God, they're going to be yours for life because you care on such a deep level. I mean, obviously we all care, but yes, I do believe this line of questioning, or really getting to the heart of the matter. One question I ask clients sometimes on the buyer's side is, you know, giving them permission to dream. If I could wave a magic wand and you could have everything you want in a dream house, what would that look like to you? And then they dream a little bit, and then you find those things like, oh wow, well, guess, you know, we can do X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Well, super. Amy, thank you for being such an incredible contributor to this. And isn't it cool, the stuff we're learning?
My mind is just exploding. I'm so excited. It really clicked for me yesterday.
Yeah,
And
well,
Dawn,
you know,
I have to say thank you to you. You know, Dawn, you're just going to have to take this, mister. Dawn is the reason I joined EXP. You know, I've been approached because I have this niche, and I've been approached by people, and they just kind of come off as smarmy, like, whoa, rah, rah, rah. And Dawn's steady, methodical, here's your way to success, presented the information, wasn't high pressure about it. I am so grateful to you and everything, that all the tools that you provide. Dawn's heart is to give us these tools to make us achieve the success that we set for ourselves. He's not going to pressure you to do something you don't want to do. But anyway, sorry, I'm just oozing love for you. I'm so, so grateful for you, Don.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Don. I just have to echo what Amy said and appreciate it. And I think I'll take the moment to share the thought that the EXP is talking about agent attraction versus recruitment. And I think that's a powerful message. You know, you attract people and you help them be better and inspire them rather than recruit and try to pull them in. You know, they'll come on their own if you give them that and have everything behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Gosh, you guys, I'm feeling kind of inspired after our call today. So thank you. Thanks for taking the time to be here, and hope to see you tomorrow. I'm not actually even sure who's on the docket for tomorrow. Does anybody know what we're doing for Atomic Habits? Should have probably been sent to you. But anyway, at atomicteammeeting.live, 9 a.m. for 30 minutes, we will be there meeting to get some more value. But you guys, thanks again for being here. Have a great day. I'll shut the recording off. And we